Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christopher King, and with that, I'm already answering the first question for this little icebreaker questionnaire. This is going to be my introduction for social work with families, or social work with family practice, rather. And going on to the next question, my first year field placement was completed for New Point Behavioral Healthcare, which is a behavioral healthcare in the southern agency in the southern Jersey area. While there, I completed a few responsibilities, which include co-facilitation of open process group therapy for Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then solo, I facilitated psychoeducation group therapy as well. And then I was granted the opportunity to also work with individuals. And so I did that on a per week basis all the way up until the end of my field placement. Included with all of that on the side, I was granted the opportunity to work for New Point as an intake specialist. So basically, I worked in a completely different office and I was basically doing intake. And so overall, it was a very well rounded foundational experience for me, just because prior to that, I had no experience in this industry. My experience with families at New Point was very limited, just because I worked mostly with groups and individuals. At the end of my field placement, there was potential for an opportunity to work with a family just because of the voiced concerns of a particular client. I helped conceptualize what we would do, how we would tackle it, but that's pretty much where my involvement in that family practice ended, just because I had to leave. My internship was going to be over, so I didn't get a chance to sit in on the session, although I would have loved to. The basic structure of my family system growing up was a single mother only child. My mother was a single mother. She was a social worker, which is actually the reason I want to now become a social worker, just being inspired by her growing up. And then she had two sisters. My father, although not completely absent, was not in the picture all of the time, and that's something I feel comfortable sharing. So it was mostly me, my mother, and her two sisters. They were the triumvirate of maternal love growing up. And that actually leads me into the next question. So growing up, I found myself playing the role of mediator from an early age. And it's interesting just because I didn't realize at the time that I was sort of learning and honing those skills when I was just mediating arguments between my mother and her aunts. And so from a very early age, I've been practicing that skill. Uh, Burning questions I hope to learn pertaining to family practice and social work, just the specifics on the dynamics of how a session goes. Um, I also want to learn techniques to ensure that everyone feels heard, because that's something that I've had a lot of practice in growing up with my mother and her sisters. But from an official, practical, theoretical standpoint, how are we to assess each individual in a family system when we have them all present, without making one or the others feel like one has gotten more attention from the therapist or the social worker, to the detriment of the others, or to the non-attention or negligence of the others? So that's just one question. I'm sure we're going to learn that and so much more, and I am excited. That is the end of my introduction, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your day.